Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back. Today's Daf is Kesubos Ayin Tes. We begin on Ayin Chesom at Beis at the third line from the bottom of the Amud. So we know that if an Isha has properties, she has nechasim, assets, which she brings into the marriage, but they aren't necessarily recorded in the Ksuva, in which case the husband would accept full responsibility. Those are called Nichsei Tzoin Barzel. No, we're not speaking about those properties. Rather, about Nichsei Meilug, which we discussed yesterday. So she has a property which she brings into the marriage, but maintains full rights, full access to that property. It's fully hers, under her responsibility, but the Chachamim provided this chus of peiros to the husband. He can take the income, the produce from that property. Likewise, if she is already a married woman and she gets an inheritance, etc., the actual property, the keren, is hers. So the principle is the isha's, but the peiros, the offshoots, the produce, the income, the rent, perhaps, goes to the husband. Says the Gemara, Hahi itasa. So we have this woman, the boya, the tavrechinu lenichsa migavra. She was loaded with assets, about to get married. She wanted to avoid this arrangement with her husband. The boya, the tavrechinu, she wanted to be mavriach, to divert, so to speak. Lenichsa migavra, her nechasim, her assets from her husband. She didn't want him to have access to those properties. So what does she do? She doesn't disclose that she has these properties, and she gives it away, clandestinely. Kasvesinu, so she wrote them all away. Lebarta, she sold them, so to speak, to her daughter. She writes a star, I'm giving it as a gift. It was a gift to her daughter. And Rashi points out that she told the Eidim, look, this whole thing is just a diversion. I'm just, investing offshore to avoid taxes. I'm just giving it away, purportedly giving it away because I don't want my husband to have access to these properties. In Siba, Vigarsha, in fact, she got married, and ultimately she got divorced, and she wants her stuff back. Asoyle Kameda Rav Nachman. She approaches Rav Nachman and she says, look, there's a shtar matana, but, it wasn't for real. The purpose was just to avoid giving my husband access. It wasn't a real gift. Asoyle Kameda Rav Nachman. So the daughter pulls out the shtar matana. Look, what do you mean? Ma, you gave it to me as a gift. Kari Rav Nachman the shtar. Rav Nachman tears up the shtar. It's worthless. Why? It wasn't for real. Also Rav Anan. So Rav Anan heard about this. So he went to Kamei de Mar Ukva. He came to Mar Ukva, the Av Bezdin, to complain. Amarle, he tells him, Chazi Mar, did you see? Did you hear about Nachman? Rav Nachman. Chaklo, a villager, a farmer. It was a sort of a degrading term. He is not proficient in halachas. Look what he does. Heichi, mekara shtari d'inchi. Did you hear how Rav Nachman just tore up people's documents? Amarle, so Mar Ukva says, there must have been something behind this. Emily, can you please relate to me easy the actual gufa de uvda, the essence of the story? Tell me what happened. Heichi hava, what took place? Tell me the entire story from beginning to end. Amarle, so Rav Anan tells him, look, hachi v'hachi hava, such and such. This is what happened. The Isha really did not want to give away her properties to her daughters, but in order to avoid turning them into nichse melug, in which her husband has access, she sort of allegedly gave it all away. Omar Le, so Mar Ukva says, sure, Rav Nachman was 100% right. Shtar mavrachas ka amros? You're referring to a shtar of a mavrachas, a diverter? It's not a legitimate shtar. Hachi Amar Chani Loi Bar Idi, Amar Shmuel, such was said in the name of Shmuel, Moira Hira Ani. The truth is that I'm a Mura Hara, I'm a Rav. I can have the ability to issue halachas, to issue piskei dinim. I got a rishus from the Reish Galusa. I'm a certified paisik. And I want you to know, Moira Harani, and if Im Yava Ishtama Brachas Liyadi, the day that I am shown a star of a mavrachas, ekra enu, I will tear it apart. So Mar Ukva was kind of supporting what Rav Nachman did. This is not a real transaction. This was just to divert and to avoid paying taxes. Amalei Rav Nachman. So Rav tells Rav Nachman, Taimamai, why do you suppose that this deal isn't really for real? Nobody ignores his own personal needs and just gives everything away to others. The purpose wasn't to give it away, it was just to avoid disclosure to her husband. Well, Hanamin Lachrini. It says the Gemara. Well, that perhaps is applicable to strangers. You wouldn't give everything away to a stranger and ignore yourself. But who's to say that when you give away to your own daughter, that same concept applies? Perhaps she gave it all away for real. Even so, says Rav Nachman, that's incorrect. Barta, even when it's a question of daughter versus herself, nafsha adifala, one's self takes priority. Certainly she had no intention of really giving away these properties. The only point was to get them away from her husband. So now the husband thought it was gifted, it was given away, and therefore he won't bother her about it. Meisve, here comes a kasha. You mean to say that any shtar mavrachas is worthless? Phoenicia is trying to divert, keep away her properties from her husband. So what's the solution? What do? She sits down and puts together a document called a shtar pasim. Rashi says pasim is a lashon of pius, appeasement. You sort of convince the recipient to take the shtar because after all he'll have to look after the property. It's going to cost him some money. So you convince somebody to be in cahoots with you. Divrei Rabban Shimon Gamliel. So that's the way you do it. That's not going to be a good solution. You'll lose your property. Because if the recipient wishes, he can just turn around and laugh at her. The joke's on you. I'm going to keep this property. You gave it to me. The only way to avoid that is unless she actually writes in the shtar, I'm giving you this property starting from today until when I decide to change my mind. So now she can take it back. So according to Chachamim, what do we see? Unless you have this clearly stipulated, a gift is a gift. You've given it away. So it only works because you actually stipulated that it's a limited time gift. But otherwise, the receiver keeps it. Depends how much you gave away. If you gave everything away, then we understand that it was just to divert. And it's a mavrachas, it's not real, it's not legitimate, it's not a real matan. So even if you haven't really said it clearly in the shtar, it's assumed. And you can take it back. When the Brisa requires stipulation, that's when he gave away part of his properties. Okay, perhaps he decided to give something away today. So unless you actually say, well, this is only a limited time offer, you've given it away. And in our case of the Isha, she gave it all away. So she has a right to reclaim it from her daughter. Now comes a bomb kasha. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. So her giving wasn't really a giving. So you can take it back. So what'd she gain? If it was really hers to begin with, then the husband has full access. It's nisim elug. She hadn't accomplished anything by way of this loophole. If the receiver doesn't have any rights to this property, you give it right back. Nikninu bal, then it was really the wife's all along. Then husband should have access to it. What did she gain? Amar Abaye, here comes an interesting twist. Awesome, the Chachamim consider these properties, which were allegedly given away, but weren't really given away. But in any case, we treat them kenechasim she'ein yidun lebal vali with Rabbi Shimon. If you recall yesterday, Rabbi Shimon tells us that properties which the Baal is not unaware of at the point of marriage, they don't belong to him because it wasn't part of the marriage arrangement. It wasn't on his radar. Here as well. even though technically this whole transaction was worthless, but at the end of the day, he thought it was. The husband thinks that she gave it away. So it's no longer on his mind. It's no longer part of his arrangement. And therefore, he has no right to the payers of that nechasim. So bottom line is, a shtar mavrachas, a diverter's shtar, she gave it all away, it's worthless. She gave only part of her nechasim. So, if she, so according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, it's worthless. According to the Chachamim, well, we have to stipulate. I'm giving it starting from today until I decide otherwise. Now the Mishnah and the following Gemara will embark on a long journey to define for us what exactly is considered principal, keren, which belongs to the Isha, and what is considered peiros, offshoots, produce, income, profits, which belong to the husband when they are peiros of nichsei miluk. Let's say she's married and suddenly she gets a Yerusha, she inherits money. So although it's mobile, coins, bills, but this is actual principle. Husband can't just walk away with that. Rather, you turn it into real estate, in which case the land is hers, and anything produced is his. So she received monies during their marriage, which are considered nichsei maluk. What do you do with them? Yilokach behen karka. The money is used to purchase fields, property, which belongs to her. That's the keren, the principal, the actual nichsei maluk. V'hu peiros, and the husband reaps the benefits. He gets the peiros off that field. Likewise, peiros hatlushe min karka. She's married, and she lands some fruit, detached fruit. He can't just take it. He can only take peiros of a field, income coming from her property. But these peiros are the actual principle themselves. And likewise, you take them, you trade them for land, which belongs to her, and then he can take the peiros from that land, because otherwise, if he's just going to take the peiros directly, he'll consume everything. That's not fair. He's taking the actual principle. That's not what he has no right to do that. So you sell it, buy fields, and then he takes the fruit off that field. Here comes an interesting question. Peiros hamechubarim b'karka. Suppose she inherits a field which started producing its fruit. So you have half bananas, right? Half grown bananas. How do you treat that? So eventually it's going to ripen into full-size bananas, and that the husband will take. But the first half banana, which was already there when the field arrived, when she acquired possession of that field, do we treat that as peiros, in which case the husband gets it? Or is that part of the actual principle? It didn't grow in his possession. They were pre-existing. So perhaps that is considered part of the actual principle, which he cannot take. Machlekes. Peiros hamechubarim b'karka, peiros which were actually still attached to the ground. Amar Rab Meir, they belong to her. Shaman Oisa, kama hi yafa b'peiros. We take a look at the field and we appraise it. How much is this field worth with these half bananas? V'kama hi yafa b'lei peiros. And how much would it be worth without those half bananas? So let's say it's $1,000 difference. We keep that in mind. We write it down, and eventually, when the fruit ripens and he picks it, he has to deduct $1,000, which belongs to her, and take that and use it for real estate. Turn it back around into keren. Umoiser, and that differentiation, yilokach behen karka, is used to purchase fields, voichel peiros, from which you can take peiros. That's a Reb Meir. Chachamim disagree. Fruit is fruit is fruit, it's his. Even fruit which are attached, ultimately when he picks it, it's his. Of course, we all agree that if there are picked bananas in the field, already detached, of course that's not peiros, which grew in his possession. She got peiros. That's the nichsei maluk. That's the actual principle, which is turned into real estate, from which he can reap the benefits. Atlushim na karka, Shalah belong to her. V'ilokech behen karka, which are used to purchase fields. V'voichel peres, from which he can pick the produce. Rabbi Shimon will put it into a formula. Rabbi Shimon Aimer. Ma kam sheyafa koicha b'chnisa sa. He's going with the Shitas Chachamim that peres which are mechuber lekarka are considered peres which belong to the husband. So this type of situation, peres which are mechuber lekarka, makam, this situation, sheyafa koicha b'chnisa sa, in which case the husband has an advantage. He has the benefits. He's empowered. If this occurs on the way in, meaning if she acquired the field with growing fruit, so the husband has the advantage, he has access to that fruit. So if the same exact situation would occur on the way out, so upon divorce she's taking back her field, which features some fruit which are still attached. Now the husband cannot benefit from that fruit. It's part of the actual field. You see, in the first case, he actually picked it. So when he picks it, okay, it's his pears, even though part of it grew beforehand. Part of it predated his arrival. But here, he never picked it. She's on her way out with this field with growing fruit. That's part of the actual field at this point. The unpicked fruit are part of the field, in which case she takes it. Now we'll do the formula in the reverse. There is a situation where the husband is at a disadvantage upon entry. Meaning if she receives the field which has picked fruit on it, husband has no access to that, as we explained before. It's part of the principle. It didn't grow by him. You take that, you flip it into karka, and she gets that. This same very situation, if it's on the way out, she's walking away from him with her field, and there are picked fruit in the field that belongs to him. That's the peres, which he's entitled to. The Mishnah explains: peres hamechubarim lekarka, unpicked fruit, bichnisasa shaloi. If they were there while she acquired this field, while married, it belongs to him, according to the Chachamim. Ubitziasa shalah. But if we have unpicked fruit on that field on her way out of the marriage, that belongs to her. He only gets picked fruit, not unpicked fruit. In the first case, he picked it. So although it grew before it arrived into the rishus of the husband, he's still entitled to it. Because the picking gives it to him, but on the way out, he never picked it. So it belongs to her. V'atlushin menan karka, as opposed to picked fruit, b'chnisasa shalah. If they are present in the field when she acquired the field during marriage, it belongs to her. Because he didn't pick it off the field, it's part of her assets. It's like money. It's like anything that she was yerush, it's hers. You can take it and turn it into real estate from which he can pick fruit. But the actual principle is hers. Ubitziyasa shaloi, as opposed to fruit which are present on the field on her way out of the marriage, belongs to him. He was zeich in the pears of this field. Interesting formula. Here comes an interesting question. Let's say she inherited funds, ksafim, which the Mishnah tells us are meant to be turned into real estate. There's a difference of opinion between the husband and the wife how to spend that money. What's a better investment? So the Gemara will give us sound investment advice. Pshita, the halacha in the following cases are pretty clear. Ara ubati ara. There's a choice between purchasing land or homes. Certainly, we go for the land. Why? So Rashi says, land has more peiros, has more profit, and on her side as well. Properties have to be, homes have to be maintained, they deteriorate, so land is the way to go. Ara, ubati, you go with ara. What about bati? The choice between purchasing homes, vidikli, or date trees. Which way do you go? Bati, homes, which produce a steady income, a steady rent. Dikli vilani, date trees or regular fruit trees. Dikli, the date tree is the way to go. It produces more, you have a better income. Ilani vegufni, fruit trees or vines, which require intense maintenance. Ilani, fruit trees, are the way to go. Now, interesting shot. Abba Iba Zardasa. She inherited a forest, an Iba, full of Zardasa, these types of trees which are used for firewood. Upira de Kavri. Kavri are fish. Pira is a pit, like a fish pond. Can the husband chop off those trees? Can he take out those fish? Eventually, it's going to be depleted. So is that called peris, or is that called actually destroying the asset, the principle of the asset? Interesting question. Amrila pera, according to some opinions, it's called peris. Because at the end of the day, she still has the land beneath the forest, the land beneath the fish. So he's merely taking the peris. And that's okay. If Amrila karna, others disagree, it's considered as though he's taking away the actual principle. The fish, the trees. Klola de Milsa. In fact, this is the proper formula. Gizoi machlif pera. If the a branch or whatever it is that you're chopping off, or a tree that you're pulling out, if it's gizoi machlif, if it regenerates and regrows, that is called pera. Right? But ein gizoi machlif karna. But if it's a one-time use type of thing, like these trees which don't regrow, or like the fish which no longer come back, that's called interfering with the actual principle, and that he has no access to. Amar Rab Zera, Amar Rab Oishia, Amar Rab Yanai, V'amla some say Amar Rab Abba, Amar Rab Oishia, Amar Rab Yanai. Hagoyne Vlad behemas malug. So there's a behema of nichse malug, and the behema had offspring. A fellow steals that offspring. We know that a ganav pays double when caught. Who does he pay that kefel to? Mishalom tashlumet kefel isha. He pays back double to the isha. And Rashi explains that the Gemara figures that the offspring of the original animal is not called peris. Why? It sure is. It's an offspring. It was produced by the original one. We're concerned that perhaps the original one would die. The original behemoth would die. She'll be left with nothing. Chachamim wanted to ensure that there's something there for her in the long term. So the vlad of the behemoth is really hers. If a fellow steals it, he treats the woman as the owner, and to her he will pay double. Keman, whose shita are we following? Who's the one that considers the vlad of the behemoth mulug like it's hers? Like Rabbanon, or like a Chananya, not like this shita, not like that shita, the Sanya. Vlad behemoth nichse mulug lebal. The offspring of the animal, of the mulug animal, belongs to the husband. Vlad shivchas mulug liisha, when it comes to a maid servant, that child belongs to the isha. The Gemara will soon explain the difference. That is shitas chachamim. But the vlad of the animal is certainly the husband's, not the isha's. So the halacha is inconsistent with the chachamim, and likewise inconsistent with Chananya. Chananya ben Achi Yeshaya, Chananya the nephew of Yeshaya, said, also vlad shivchas mulug. The chachamim gave the same halacha to the child of the shivchas mulug, kivlad behemas mulug, like the animal's child. They both belong to the husband. So both shitas, Chananya and the chachamim, both agree that a vlad of a behemas mulug is to the husband, not to the isha. So why would you tell me that the ganav pays double to the woman and not to the husband? Our halacha could be fully in sync with both shitas. Even if generally a vlad nichse malug belongs to the husband, that's if he's directly benefiting from that animal. Peirot kinile rabbanon. Rabbanon masakin that the husband can have access to offspring, to produce, to income. He can actually take that animal. But suppose the animal was stolen and then returned as double. Peirot kinile rabbanon. Peirot, a second generation income. So this is profit generated by an offspring of the original animal. That's too far removed. Lo tekino the Rabbanan did not grant that to the husband. Now Tosfos adds, specifically here, because the kefil is something of an external type of income. It's nothing to do with the actual animal. it's the chiv of the ganach to pay back kefil. It's unrelated to the original animal, therefore it doesn't belong to the husband. Now let's just focus on this machlekes between Rabbanan and Chananya, how to treat the vlad of a shivchas maluk. Everybody agrees that vlad behema maluk belongs to the husband. Question is regarding the child of a maidservant. Chananya's shita, which is that whether it's the child of the animal or the child of the maidservant, both the husbands, that's because we're not concerned that the original, the mother or the mother animal or the mother maidservant will pass away. So the wife will be left with something. We're not concerned about misa, and therefore we give it to the husband. El Rabbanan, but how? Oh, we meant to understand the Rabbanan, who make that distinction between one and the other. If there is a concern that the original will die, and we want the wife to have something, then afilu vlad behemas mulug nami loy. And just as you don't give the vlad of the shivcha to the husband, you shouldn't give him the vlad of the animal. If they're not concerned about death, afilu vlad shivchas mulug nami, then let him have the child of the shivcha as well. What's the difference? The truth is that the Rabbanan are concerned for Misa, as opposed to Chananya, who's not concerned about Misa and gives him everything. The Rabbanan are concerned. And therefore they say, Vlad Shivcha doesn't belong to the husband because we want to use the blood as a backup. Just in case the Shivcha dies, we want the wife to have something. That explains the Shivcha. Why does this concern not apply to the animal? By the animal it's different. Even if the original animal dies, you still have its hide, she'll be left with something. And therefore we can afford to give the husband the offspring of that child. Amar Rav Huna bar Chia, Amar Shmuel, Halacha kechananya, we pass like Chananya, that when it comes to the Vlad Shivcha, we don't give it to him, but the Vlad Behema we do. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman, Avagav the Amar Shmuel, Halacha kechananya. Although Shmuel just told us that we follow Chananya, who tells us, we follow Chananya, I made a mistake. Chananya says that in both cases, whether it's the Vlad of the Shivcha, the Vlad of the Behema, it's always going to go to the husband. The reason is because we're not Choshesh L'Misa, right? That's the correct term. Chananya holds, we're not Choshesh L'Misa, we give all the Vladas to the husband. Amar Rav, Amar Rav Nachman, Afagav Amar Shmuel, Halacha kechananya. Although Shmuel tells us we follow Chananya, it all goes to the husband. It's called Peres and belongs to the husband. Mayde Chananya, but even Chananya would agree in the following case: Shimnes Garsha. Down the line, she gets divorced. The husband already took the offspring of the animal of the shivcha. We allow her to buy it back. She can pay him off and take it back in order to maintain her family's estate. This is part of our heritage, part of our estate. This is a heirloom. She has a right to reclaim these items. Now the Gemara will continue defining for us what constitutes principal, keren, which the husband can't access, and what constitutes peris, offspring, income, use, which he is entitled to. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman. Yichnisa le'ez, she brings in a goat, lechelba, which is meant to be milked. V'rachel legizasa, a lamb for its shearing, for its wool. V'tarnagoyes lebeitzasa, a hen for its eggs. V'dekel le'peroisav, a palm tree, which is meant to be picked. Husband can just eat and take until the animal dies, because that's the way you use it. He's not killing the animal; he's just using it. Amar Rav Nachman, likewise, Ayla leglima. She brings in some garment; he can use it. Peirahavi, its use is called peris. Michsebe be'azal, he can use it and use it ad dechalya until the garment is no longer fit for use. And Rashi explains, because ultimately there is something left behind. The animal still has some value even when it's no longer alive. Likewise the chicken, likewise the palm tree, likewise the garment. It's still a rag. There's still something left. So the keren ultimately remains behind. Says the Markiman, This chiddush of Rav Nachman, that you can just use that beggar until it wears out. Kiman, whose shita are we following? Ki haitana, we're following the shitas chachamim in the following price, who considers that used to be peiros, which the husband is entitled to. The san melach v'achol. Suppose she has some sort of property which features these salt pools. Rashi says they would take salt water, run it through these pools, water evaporates, leaves behind salt. V'achol, she has some sort of sand area, beach, which supplies them with sand. Hareza peiros, you can just take and take. These things don't get depleted. Pir shel gafras. She has this pit filled with sulfur. Machfer shel tzrif. Tzrif is alum, some sort of element, which is quarried from this quarry. So can the husband take these things? Eventually it's going to be depleted. He'll be left just with plain land, depleted of its minerals. So what is that? Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, he can't take that because he's actually eating away at the principle. They say no. You can just take that because ultimately you have the land beneath it. That's called the karka. Here as well, that's called the karen. Here as well, when it comes to the garment, use it and use it, gesundheit. Rabbi Shimon So remember, Rabbi Shimon had a formula at the end of the Mishnah to explain the difference between Peres Mechubaran and Peres Tulushin. And the Gemara figures, really Rabbi Shimon is just repeating the Tanakama. Rabbi Shimon Hainu Tanakama. Amar Rava Mechubaran B'Shas Yitzia Ikabinav. There's one difference. True, on the way in, there's no difference between Rabbi Shimon and Tanakama. But on the way out, there is. You see, there were two machlokes in the Mishnah. Peres that are unpicked at the point when she receives that field, when she inherited that field. According to Rabbi Meir, unpicked fruit that were present at that moment belonged to her. It's part of the keren, part of the actual asset. Chachamim said no. Ultimately, when he picks it later on, he gets the entire fruit, even the portion which grew before. He had access to it. That's one machlekes. Here comes another machlekes. Peres which are mechubar, which are unpicked, which are attached, and it's on a way out of the marriage. So according to Rabbi Shimon, he said, Yitziasa Shalah, it belongs to her. Until he picks it, he doesn't have it. It belongs to the Isha. It's part of the actual field. It's connected to the Karen. The Chachamim disagree. That's going to be the difference between Rabbi Shimon and Tanakama. They hold no. The fact is, where did it grow? Where did it develop? During the marriage. When it was accessible to him. When he was entitled to it. It's called his Peres and he can take it. So let's summarize the whole sugya, the Mishnah and the Gemara. What goes to the Isha, which you take for Karka, which turns into Peres, and what goes to the Baal? Ksafim, funds, which she inherited. He purchased fields. It belongs to the Isha, from which the husband can take Peres. Peres Telushin, again, that belongs to the Isha. What about Peres Mechurbaran? Okay, so Bichnisa, if they were present when she got the field, Tanakama says, it goes to the husband. Rabbi Meir says to the Isha. If the Peres Mechurbaran on the way out of the marriage, according to Tanakama, it goes to the husband. According to Rabbi Shimon, it goes to the Isha. What about Iba Zirdasa, those forests with firewood, or the fish ponds? What do we do with that? Can he use it or not? Machlekes. Avlad of a behema. So according to all Shitas, it belongs to the husband. What about Avlad Shivcha? According to Hananya, it belongs to the Isha. According to Chachamim, to the husband. Can he take that salt, that sand off her property? Yes. What about the various types of minerals and elements, gafras and tzrif, and likewise Rav Nachman's case of the garment which he's using until it wears out? Chacham Rav Meir says that it belongs to the Isha. Chachamim say the husband can use it as Peres. And certainly in the Eiz L'Chelba, that was the goat and all that which you use in an indirect way. You just take the produce, but you leave the actual item intact. According to all Shittas, that's called Peres, which the husband is entitled to. Continues the Mishnah. Naflula avoda mushfachis. It's a kain. So this married woman inherited slaves, maidservants, which are already advanced in age and unfit for labor. What do you do with them? Yimachru, they're meant to be sold off. V'yilokach ben karka, mehen karka, v'oichel peres. Sold off, purchased fields, and they're sold off for fields, and you give the husband the peres. Rabban Shimon Gamliel Omer Lo Timkar. She can object to that sale. It's part of my family's heirloom, my family's estate. These old avodim shvach, I don't want to give them up. So she has a right to hold back the sale. Likewise, there are old olive trees, vines. According to Tanakama, you sell them off for property. No, she can object. Like Timkar, this is part of my family's estate. I don't want to give it up. I'm Rav Khan, I'm a Rav. Machlekes. Shenaflu b'sada shalah. When does Rabbi Shimon Gamliel say? Sorry, we're going on the trees. The Zeisim Megafanim. Rabbi Yehuda. When does Rabbi Yehuda say she can object to that sale? Shenaflu b'sada shalah. She got these items embedded in her field. So it's really going to stay there for a long term. So she can say, look, I want to keep them. But let's say her father happened to own these trees in a neighbor's property. So eventually it's gonna die out. She's not really going to have it for the long term. Timko all agree. Husband has a right to sell them because eventually the karen will be depleted. Meaning the trees are not going to last forever. So what kind of claim is this? I want shvach beisev. I want my hero. I want my estate. It's a short-term ownership in any case. Maskefla Rav Yosef, I have a kash on this. If it's a temporary type of thing, she can't claim shavach beisaviyah. This is my family's praise, my family's estate. Hari avodim shvachis. What about the slaves? They're not there forever. It's like the trees in the other guy's field. Upligim, we have the same machlekes. According to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, she can object to that sale. Shavach beisaviyah. Rather, if we learned it was as follows. The other way around. When does Tanakama maintain that the husband can sell them off against her wishes? When the trees are present in a different field. So then he could say, look, it's not going to be yours forever in any case. So may as well sell them off right now while they're still worth something. But if the trees are actually growing in her field, she's going to hold on to them. It's part of her estate. In this case, all agree that she has a right to stop the sale. It's part of my family's shvach. Rashi says, l'shem, l'tiferes. It enhances our property. Leave it alone. Continues the mission. So a fellow invested in his wife's nichse milug, expecting profitable returns. He invested a lot, and he really just took out a bit. Or kima, he invested a bit, he took out a lot. We don't match up the investment with the return. Whatever amount he invested. Whatever he reaped. We don't match up the numbers. But let's say he got nothing. He invested, never got a chance to take anything out of it. In that case, he's entitled to get his money back. So upon divorce, if it turns out that he invested without getting any return, Yishava kamahoitzi v'yitol, he makes a shvur, look, I invested $500,000, and he gets that back. Okay, so what did we learn today? We started with the Isha, who was sort of playing games on her husband, on her future husband, diverting her properties, getting it out of his way. The Gemara says she's actually successful, because we treat it like nechasim she'einu nidun labal. It's not part of the arrangement and does not belong to him. Now, can the recipient just walk away with the property? Well, it depends. If she gave it all away, the assumption is it was just a diversion. It wasn't really a legitimate deal. It goes back to the giver. But miktsasa was only a partial giveaway. Then, according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, we rip up the shtar. Whereas according to Chachamim, in this case, we have to stipulate. Look, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm giving it to you today, but I'm going to get back later. And in that case, you can take it back. We had a whole long list of cases various items and properties, what goes to the Isha, what goes to the Baal, and we concluded with the Mishnah, the Shevach Beis Avia. So it works like this. Avodim and Shvachis, all the ones who can't work, or Zeisim and Gefanim, which are present in a different field. So these things eventually will, die out and stop functioning. According to one shita, the husband could say, let's sell them off. According to the other shita, she can say, no, this is part of my family's estate. But all agree, the Zeisim and Gefanim that are in her field, she can object, Ipnei Shevach Beis Avia. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.